to automate lists and dropdowns types of the web element. So you will learn how to select elements from the list and how to loop through the list of the web elements, performing different operations. So let's get into it. So this is our test application, and in the very top of the test application, we have this list. If you click on this dropdown, and if we select the different items, it will change the color of the application. So first thing that you need to know about the lists. So visually, if you look at this element, it looks like this box with the 4 items belongs to the box of the selector, but it is actually not. So let me make a right click. I show you how it looks in the DOM. So this is the button tag that represents the list input field. And as you can see, the actual list is not here. So if I scroll it up, this is just our header. And inside of the header, we have this button, and that's it. Inside of the span, we have just a text that is displayed right now inside of the button. But the actual list in spec is located in some kind of SDK overlay container, and it's located in a completely separate section of the website, even if it's visually presented like they're located next to each other. So that's why when you are locating the selector of the list and the list itself, very often it can be a completely different locators. So let's start automating this scenario. So our scenario will be just selecting a different items and then validating the color is changing on this web page. And we begin with identifying locator for this just box and then clicking on this locator. Going back to application, I am setting up a new test. So let's do a first thing, find the locator for this box and click on it to expand the list. Right click, inspect, and what we have. So we know that this is ngx-header, and inside of this ngx-header we have nb-select, which looks like a parent element for the button which is inside. So let's use this nb-select as part of ngx-header. So I create a new constant, dropdown menu equals to page.locator, and this is what parent element is ngx-header, and then child in relation to it nb-select. And then we await drop-down menu, click to expand it. And let's see if it works. Lists and dropdowns running. And we can see, yes, click was performed on the button and we see expanded list. Now, how to select items from the list? The recommended ways in the Playwright to interact with the list is using, of course, getByRole. So we can use either page getByRole list, and the second page getByRole is list item. List can be used when the list has a UL tag. And list item can be used when the list has LI tag. This is a typical HTML tags that are used in lists and list items. And if you have those, you can use this getByRole list or getByRole list item. List represent the parent container for the entire list, and list item will get you all the list items from the list and will represent the array or list of the list elements. So now let's look in our DOM, right click, inspect, and what we see. So we have this UL, which is option list, and we can definitely use this getByRole to get the list itself. But we actually need the list items, and we have 4 NB options. And unfortunately, in this application, we don't have LI tag. We have a different library probably used here, which is used NB option. So we cannot use a list item getByRole. So we will use just a regular locator. So let's create a locator for the option list items. So the first approach is page.getByRole, and we can provide our list first, and then find the child elements, locator, and the child elements is NB option. And this will work just fine. So first we found the list, and then part of this list we found all the NB option which represent the items of our list. But I would prefer to use a different approach. Let me comment this out. More compact way would be something like this. Option list, page.locator, and we just provide NB option list as our parent, and then child NB option. And it will be exactly the same result, just looks a little bit more compact. Now, let's say we want to make an assertion that our list has all list items in the list that we expect. So how to do that is using locator assertion. Await, expect, we provide our option list and validate to have text. And since we are getting the entire list of the elements, the return result for the have text will be array of the items. And then we simply provide all the expected items that should be in this list, which is light, dark, cosmic, and corporate. Let's run this test. All right, and we can see the test passed successfully. Where is our assertion? This is the assertion. We got the list of all the items and assertion happened successfully. And let's say if I will change any of the items, run this test again. And assertion failed, and we can see the difference in the array. This is the expected array, and this is the actual array. So there is a difference, that's why it's failed. Now let's make a selection of any of the items in this list. Let's say we want to select a cosmic color. And we put await, call our option list, and then we will use method filter to select the item from the list. Has text, and the item is cosmic. And perform click. Running this test one more time. Yeah, we can see cosmic was selected successfully. And now let's try to make a validation of the background color, which is changed when we select a cosmic. So how to do that? Let's inspect the DOM to understand what is changing. So this is our header. This is the full header and NB layout header. And we are looking into the styles and properties on the right panel over here. And we are looking our NB layout header. This is this element, and it has a property background color. This is the color that was selected when we click a cosmic, and we can make assertion of this color. So if I click right here, we see that RGB code for this color is 505089, and we can make a validation that property of background color for this particular element is matching this RGB code of the color. So let's do this. So first let me create a new locator for the header equals to page.locator, and it is NB layout header, and then await, expect header to have CSS. CSS property is background color, and the value for this property is RGB, and we provide the value 50, 50,89. Okay, and let's run this one more time. Okay, scrolling down, we see assertion passed successfully. So we validated that our application actually changed the color when we selected an item from the dropdown. And now let's make a little bit more fun with this scenario. Let's say we want to validate every color and every selection option from the list. So we want to select all the items from the list one by one and then validate that for each of the selection, we have the color change of the application. So first I begin with identifying of all the expectations of all the color codes. And I will create the object const colors. And inside of this object, I will put all the known values for each of the colors. And just to speed up the process, I just copy-pasted the already prepared colors that I explored before. So I know that the light is this color, dark is this color, cosmic is this color. I showed you how I found this out, and corporate also have this color. Now what we're gonna do, we will make a loop through the list of the colors in this object, and we select the item for each of this color, that when we select the color, this color should match the expected value. Start with a simple for loop, but this time it will be not for off loop, it will be for in loop, because we are looping through the object. Const color, it will be our iterator in colors. So we're looping through the object of the values. Now await option list filter. We need to select the color first. Has text. And instead of providing the exact value, how we did it right here, I just provide the value of our iterator. I provide color.click. So one more time, what is happening here, by setting up this loop, this iterator will look into the colors object right here and will take the value from the list. First it's gonna take light, then dark, then cosmic, then corporate. So this color constant will represent the value of the light on the very first round of the loop. And then we make an assertion. Await expect header to have CSS. And here again, the same thing. Instead of providing the exact value of the expectation, we want to read this object and based on the value of the iterator, get the value of the property. So we call colors object and reading the colors object based on the value of color. Colors with the color, and this expression will return us a value from our object for this particular color. And after we made the validation of the color, we need to continue the loop and open this drop-down menu one more time. So I copy this, await click. In order to repeat this loop, we want to open it again. And to begin this loop, since we are selecting the color here and it's closing down, we need to open it right here before beginning this loop. So I think we are all set and ready to run this test. Yeah, and I think it worked. So let me quickly go through this, hover overing the mouse. We can see that it's selecting a different colors. And you can see below how it's looping through each of the colors in our for loop. So it is working perfectly fine. The only one thing I would make a little adjustment is at the end of our loop, let's make our loop closed. Here at the final step, we want to add a condition if color is not equal to corporate, we want to perform a click. It means that until color is corporate, we want to open our dropdown again in order to continue the loop. But if color is corporate, we don't want to click on it again because loop is simply over. Let's run it and verify that our logic is working fine. Okay, so we are selecting the elements, selecting the colors, and our list is collapsed. Alright, so that's it. Let's quickly summarize what we did in this lesson. When you interact with the list, the recommended approach would be to use getByRole list or getByRole list items if your DOM has UL tag or LI tag available in order to make this approach working. When you want to validate the list content by single assertion, you can use to-have tags locator assertion and providing the array as your assertion value. To select the items from the list, the best approach would be to use a filter and providing the text of the list item that you want to select. And if you want to loop through your list, you absolutely can do this using JavaScript for in loop or for off loop, how I showed you in this example. Alright, that's it guys, and see you in the next lesson.